Hey guys, what's up? Coach Jay from Sweaty Academy back at it with another, I was about to say basketball video, but I'm actually changing it up. This is going to be a football video right here. This is another Sweaty Talk. I told y'all you were getting another one pretty soon. So, in this one I wanted to talk about, as a Cowboys fan, and I'm pretty excited for the NFL season. Even if I wasn't a Cowboys fan, I love football and just sports in general, so I'm still psyched for the NFL season that's going to be in a couple months. But with the fact that minicamp is coming up pretty soon, I wanted to talk about one of my favorite players in the NFL right now, Dak Prescott. Now, last season it became really popular to hate on Dak Prescott for, see the difficulty right there. It became really popular to hate on Dak Prescott, not really in sports media, but just like, well, yeah, in sports media, but really just in general. A lot of people really were just hating on Dak Prescott for no reason. Really just giving him unfair criticisms and comparisons as to what he should be doing, what they thought he should be doing. And I really just wanted to talk about what I think about Dak Prescott and what I think he can improve on and what I think he already has that he can build upon. Now, I have some pros and cons right here. I have this on a piece of paper. I want to keep this organized, but we're going to be talking about some cons, so I'll see you all in a little bit. All right, for the first con that I want to talk about, this is a big problem why I can't call Dak Prescott an elite quarterback, is the fact that he stares down his receivers too much. Now in football, which you'll see a lot of Madden, I'll make this a little bit like more in layman's terms. In any passing play, like for example, look at the passing play in the middle, play action end around. You see that one red route right there, that little out route. What that's supposed to be is the hot receivers. That's their number one option of who you're supposed to be looking at when the pass play starts. Dak Prescott has a tendency to stare down that receiver way too much, and this gives the safety in the middle linebacker, the people who will be watching the quarterback's eyes, a hint at who he's throwing to. And this resulted in a lot of incomplete passes and interceptions. Now, he's not an interception-happy quarterback like Jameis Winston or something like that, but this did result in a lot of like gut-wrenching, incompletions that really could have been prevented. I don't know how many interceptions he threw, but I know it wasn't a lot. But this is a big problem because if we want to go farther and farther in the playoffs, as soon as we play a team that has a really good secondary, they're going to key in on that, and that's going to result in a lot of interceptions for Dak Prescott due to the fact that he has a good arm for a quarterback, but he doesn't have a rocket arm, so he doesn't have any sort of excuse or any sort of way to bail himself out if a safety or a middle linebacker or even a corner keys in on who he's throwing to. Now, a lot of elite quarterbacks, pretty much all elite quarterbacks do this. Peyton Manning did this, Drew Brees does this, Tom Brady definitely does this, Patrick Mahomes did this with his no-look passes. They'll do something that I like to call snake eyes, and this is pretty much in any sport when someone's watching your eyes and you look in a certain direction but they do something the exact opposite way. Let me use Tom Brady for an example. I think I was watching one game where I can't remember who he was playing. Who were they playing? But basically, the safety was watching his eyes the entire play. But what he did was he stared down Julian Edelman who was his main receiver? I can't remember. I think it was Gronkowski. Gronkowski might have been the second option, but he was staring down Julian Edelman, who was on the left side of the field. Gronkowski was on the right side of the field. The safety you could see shift over towards Julian Edelman because he thought that's where Tom Brady was going to go. And then immediately, right as he was about to throw it, he shifted back over Gronkowski. That's something that all elite quarterbacks do, and that's something that Dak Prescott needs to learn how to do. Because if you have snake eyes and you can do that well, that's a dangerous weapon because the defense literally has to react instead of attacking. Now, I'm not going to rant about this too much. I'm starting to lose right now. Oh, wait. I'm not going to rant about this one thing too much since I have two other cons. But really, Dak Prescott, this is something that really can be fixed through experience. You can tell that, what is this, his fourth season? I think this is something that he'll learn how to do as his career goes on. But as right now, I think this is his biggest con. I think this is what made people think that he wasn't as good of a passer as he actually is, just because of the fact that he would throw it into tighter windows than it would have to be, just because he was staring down his receiver too much. Now, the second con that I have is his inconsistency on deeper throws. Now, I don't mean deep throws as in just those fly routes and just those heights of throws. I mean, let's say a deep curl route, a deep end route, anything having to do with the deeper throw. Dak Prescott has some inconsistency with that. And that's what created a lot of media hype that Dak Prescott was an inaccurate quarterback And that's something that I completely disagree with. He's not an inaccurate quarterback. He's just inconsistent as the ball goes farther down the field. Now, this is something that can easily be fixed by his own work ethic. And based on everything that I've heard, he's a hard worker, so that's nothing I'm really worried about. But this is something that I had to bring up due to the fact that he would miss some wide open throws that would really make me jump out of my seat and get upset. But nevertheless, as I'm joking around about it, this is something that really needs to be fixed. I think this is the second most important con that he has. I was about to put it at first until I started thinking about it more. But his inconsistency on deeper throws needs to be fixed. Just because the fact that we have deep threats now, and if he's going to keep missing those receivers, not often, but too often for it to feel comfortable, we're going to have to talk about it. Now, the next problem, with the last con that I have that really sticks out to me, is the fact that he holds on to the ball too long. This was another one that I might put at number one, except for that it leads into one of his pros. So I decided to put it at third. But you can really switch number one and number three because of the fact that how frequently he did this. He stared down on receivers too much sometimes, but when I tell you he held the ball too long all season, I'm not even joking. Like, it got to the point where literally I was standing up just hoping that he wouldn't hold the ball if the play broke down. Now, I'm going to give Dak Prescott his credit. This kind of goes into the pros, but I'm just going to say it anyway. I respect Dak Prescott's toughness and staying in the pocket, even when everything breaks down, but sometimes you got to use your smarts. If the play breaks down and you see no receivers downfield, don't try to hold the ball and expect someone to get open. Sometimes you got to throw the ball away. Get out the pocket and throw the ball away, or try to tuck the ball under and run. This is something that he can do, but he really shied away from doing for some reason. And this resulted in a lot of fumbles. Like, Dak Prescott isn't a bad ball carrier when he's running with the ball, but he decided to hold the ball so long that defensive lineman would come up and just pluck the ball out of his hands. And this resulted in a lot of situations where we almost lost. I think we lost the Redskins game just because of that. Wait, no, I would say we lost the Redskins game just because of that. I was at that game. My main problem with this is that there's a difference between toughness and just being stubborn. Dak Prescott, on a lot of occasions, was really stubborn with the ball. What do you have, 13 fumbles this year? And that's not indicative of the type of ball carrier that he is. That just means that he needs to be more intelligent with how he handles himself in the pocket. Now, this kind of ties into his biggest pro for me, which is his physical and mental toughness. First of all, let me start off with the physical toughness. I've seen Dak Prescott get smacked by defensive linemen, linebackers. Sometimes they were blindside hits. Sometimes they were hits they were right up in front of him. And I got to respect him for that. Like, I give Dak Prescott all the respect in the world for that, because I've seen him get smacked and get right up. And that's something that not a lot of quarterbacks in today's league had, just because of the fact that, A, a lot of the linebackers are really athletic now, so it's really impressive that he gets smacked like that and still gets up. And second, I mean, he's a quarterback. I mean, you would think he will wear down after all these years, but no, he still gets up from those big hits and acts like it was nothing, so I'll give him credit for that. Second, his mental toughness, which I tied with his physical toughness, because it's really just as much of a pro. Dak Prescott in clutch situations, this ties into one of the pros, but Dak Prescott in clutch situations and drives where we need a score, maybe in the first half, we've been having a bad first half, and we need that score at the end of the second quarter, he comes through on those. Dak Prescott, without a doubt, does not get rattled by being sacked in the beginning of the game. He doesn't rush his throws just because of the fact that the corners have been on him or the linebackers have been on him. He keeps up at what he's doing and makes sure that it goes through his progressions right. And that's something I can really respect out of a starting quarterback. Second, his clutch factor. I think Dak Prescott's clutch factor is something that's so overlooked and something that's so, underrated. But when you look at the stats, I say this all the time to my friends when they say Dak Prescott isn't clutch or he doesn't come through. Dak Prescott, since him being in the league, is tied for first, or he's top 3 in game-winning drives. And this isn't just off of Zeke. This is off of him as well, making good throws down the field and making runs down the field. This is going to tie into his third one. I'm going to keep off from that. But Dak Prescott is one of the most clutch starting quarterbacks that we have in the league right now. I mean, you get into a game-winning situation, Dak Prescott will do whatever he needs to do to win the game. And this ties into the his third pro, which I think might be his number one pro, because it ties into his work ethic and just him as a player, his competitiveness. This goes hand in hand with his clutch factor, because of the fact that, like I said, Dak Prescott will do anything and everything in his power to win a game. Exhibit A is when what were we playing against, the Redskins or the Eagles? We're in a clutch situation. We're down by 3 or a touchdown. I can't remember the specific situation, but I know we were down. Dak Prescott didn't just try to force the ball in and throw like a pick or interception. I mean, a pick or incomplete pass. Dak Prescott ran right through the defensive line, which is dangerous, first of all, because of the fact that defensive line could just jump off and just tackle him. But no, he was competitive enough to run through that defensive line, run right in front of a linebacker, and jump over, literally being flipped in the air and landed right at the 1 yard line, right at the goal line. I couldn't believe it. I'm being quite honest, because there's not a lot of quarterbacks that would do that. There's like a handful of quarterbacks that would try to do something like that. Phillip Rivers is the next. Phillip Rivers and Tom Brady are in my opinion, two of the most competitive quarterbacks in the league. And I don't even think they would try something like that. But just because Dak Prescott, he wants to win this game so much, I compare that type of play to John Elway's helicopter dive. I forgot what it was called, the helicopter dive thing that he did. Obviously, it wasn't the same situation, but it's the same type of action of putting your body on the line for the sake of the team to win. Now, his competitiveness sometimes, like I said, ties into his stubbornness and holding the ball. But at the end of the day, this is the type of quarterback that I would want to take me to the Super Bowl. Maybe not drag my team to the Super Bowl, since that's not the system we're in. But Dak Prescott is a quarterback that I trust going into a Super Bowl, that we can win the game. He's a quarterback that I can trust going into a playoff game, that we can win the game, which we have done before. So, overall, a lot of his cons are mental errors, and a lot of his pros are toughness. So I really respect that. I really am excited for what Dak Prescott can do in this upcoming season, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. Sorry I had to cut it short, but yeah, peace out. Stay